Haunted Encounters, my experiences at the museum. Before taking over as the curator last year, I was absolutely not a believer in the paranormal. It wasn't that I was religious or had strong beliefs about the afterlife. I was just raised to think that when you die, that's it. My father was a long-time atheist, and his skepticism naturally influenced me and my 4 siblings. He wasn't closed-minded, though. In fact, he always told us that if there was an afterlife, he would do everything in his power to prove it to us. When we unexpectedly lost him in 2009, I had a few unusual and inexplicable experiences, but those are stories for another day. The museum's history. The museum where I work is located in the 3rd largest city in Pennsylvania. It's housed in an old mansion built in the 1700s by Charles and Sarah Bieber. When I took over, the previous curator and director made sure to warn me. The Bieber family is believed to still inhabit the home. I brushed it off. That is, until I spent the last 3 weeks working alone at night, setting up a new exhibition. Since then, I've seen and heard things that shattered my skepticism. Here are my experiences. The Woman on the Stairs. It was a quiet Tuesday evening when I had my first encounter with a member of the Bieber family. I was working on a chicken wire assemblage, my back turned to the room, when I felt an overwhelming sense of being watched. Then suddenly, I heard the distinct sound of a woman coughing right behind me. I spun around just in time to catch a flash of blue and white pinstriped fabric twirling up the stairs. My heart pounded. I rushed to the staircase, turned on the lights, and searched for the intruder. Nothing. Then from the 2nd floor, a door creaked open. I called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" A response came, but not in words. Instead, heavy, deliberate footsteps thudded toward the landing. A deep, unmistakably male breath filled the air, followed by a soft whistling tune. I saw no one, but the whistling got closer. In a panic, I turned off the lights, locked the door, and left for the night. The little girl in white. The next night, I wasn't taking any chances. I brought my boyfriend along. While he went upstairs to use the restroom, I continued working in the main hall. Then I heard small footsteps enter the room. When I turned, I saw her, a little girl, no older than 6 or 7, with long blonde curls and a white dress. She stood in the doorway, staring at me for a brief moment before turning and running. Without thinking, I followed. She led me around the corner, past the restroom, and toward the dark hallway that led to the basement. Then just as quickly as she appeared, she was gone. My boyfriend returned, and we continued working for another 20 minutes before we both heard it. The same heavy footsteps from the night before. The whistling tune began again. I turned to my boyfriend, expecting him to laugh it off, but his face was pale with fear. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. Without a word, we shut off the lights and left. Ho was like an older brother to me. We met when I was 11 and he was around 19 or 20. Despite the age gap, he never gave me a reason to feel uncomfortable. With my father deployed in Iraq, he became a protective, fatherly figure in my life. Then, about a year ago, he died in a car accident in Europe. I grieved, but I didn't expect to feel his presence. That was, until I had a strange dream. I was at someone's house, playing on a large pile the cursed statue. In April last year, my boyfriend Luke and I went on holiday to Mexico. When we returned, I was unpacking when I found something odd. A small wooden statue of a kneeling woman praying toward the sun. I asked Luke about it, and he explained that he and a friend, Rowan, had found it leaning against a tree stump. Thinking it was interesting, he brought it home and placed it in the hallway between our Yankee candles. A week later, strange things started happening. My keys, which I always placed on a hook in the kitchen, would mysteriously turn up in the middle of the living room. Light bulbs in the hallway kept burning out. Our phone, sitting on the hallway table, would ring at odd hours, only for me to pick up and hear static or faint mumbling. Then, the most unsettling event. I would get into bed, ready to lay my head on my pillow, only to feel something hard underneath. It was the wooden statue.